Okay. So a couple of announcements in terms of things that are going on. I don't know if you guys have seen online or if you've gotten the emails, but this weekend here, the Red Cross is doing another blood drive, right? So on Sunday, we'll kind of clear all this stuff out. They'll set up in here. We did one of these back in May. They are really suffering right now. The Red Cross used to do blood drives in schools and in corporate business in all these different places. And since the virus has hit, many of those they have been closed out of. So between 11:30 and 4:30 on Thursday, October 15th, the Red Cross will be in here in the gym, taking significant COVID precautions, right? So if you've got time, if you're a blood donor, if you'd like to donate, you can go on and just go to the Red Cross, right? If you go up on our Facebook page, if you look in our email, you search with the sponsor code LEGERD, Gallup Hill will pop up. There's still a number of spots available for you guys to sign up. As an additional kind of item, and I didn't find out about this until this past week, but everybody who donates blood, they actually test your blood for the COVID antibodies, right? So it's not the active virus test, but they test to see whether it's something that maybe you've had in the past. So know that if you do that within a week or two of your blood donation, they'll be back in contact with you about that. And then there's also some other, it'll tell you how much iron's in your blood. It's almost like a little mini physical that they'll report back to you on. So go online, you'll find that. Just search for Ledger. Okay, also, normally this is about the time of the year that we start talking about our Thanksgiving feast, right? If you guys have been here, normally we gather, right? Churches packed, food, and then, we're not going to be able to do that this year, which is really a little just kind of disheartening. But in lieu of that, there's a number of people around our community that have been affected by the virus. The town that are still out of work, right? The town is pulling together holiday gift baskets and giving programs. So in an effort to keep things kind of distanced and safe, they're asking that people give gift cards to local businesses or retailers in the amount of $25 or $50. So to places like Walmart or Target or ShopRite or Aldi's or Kohl's or even to Amazon or something like that, right? So what we'd like to do this year in lieu of everybody bringing something for the Thanksgiving feast is we'd love to have each one of you donate maybe a gift card, a $25 gift card, and we take those and give those to the town, right, as a way to bless our neighbors that might be in need over Thanksgiving and over Christmas. Those are needed by November 1st. So you can either bring a gift card or if you want to do a donation, you can do it online. Just put a memo on there, right, that this is for this, or if you put a check in the box outside, you can say that this is for this, and then that way we kind of know, and we can go purchase gift cards, okay? All right, so that's the second kind of big thing. So that's, again, by November 1st, which is only a couple of weeks away, right? And then, last really announcement. So this is our last Saturday night gathering here together, right? And that's kind of what we're about to talk about. But next week, right, we move to our 2 Sunday morning services. And that's really what, in terms of message tonight, that's what I want to talk about. So as I was prepping this week, I was looking through, Revelation 13 and, the 2 beasts that are mentioned there. And then I was like, all right, we got to talk to the church about all this. And then as I added all that together, I'm like, this is going to be like an hour and a half. And so we're just going to hold off on Revelation 13 till next week and talk about what it's going to look like as we move indoors next week, okay? So I've got really just kind of a laundry list of stuff here to go over with you guys. So it's in mostly kind of a coherent order, but there's, like I said, there's a number of things to talk about. So just thinking this through, right, as in moving in, right, as we've learned, right, as you begin to move indoors, right, things get a little different. So we're going to continue to weekly monitor, the health information that's coming primarily out of Ledgelight. That primarily gets most of our areas. Ledyard, Groton, those are our 2 big kind of areas that we're looking at. But we'll be watching, specific numbers like infections, hospitalizations, positivity rates. So right now, as you guys know, our county is in a little bit of a flare-up. Most of that's on the other side of the river. Norwich, New London, East Lyme, Waterford. But things like that are going to influence, right, how things are going is going to influence, for example, how much we sing when we come inside. Do we do 1 or 2 songs? Do we do 3 or 4 songs, right? All that will be kind of determined by some of those numbers. It may affect things like children's programming, right? Do we take them upstairs? Do we keep them down here, right? So those things we'll have to kind of keep our eye on. And so at the same time, we're going to ask you guys, right, as you go through, to keep an eye on your own health. Right? If for some reason you are exposed and test positive, we just ask you guys let us know as quickly as possible in case there's some information that we need to report, there's contact tracing that we need to do, right? And we'll be as discreet as we possibly can about that. But so the people you should contact, if you have a deacon assigned to you, you can contact them, and then that deacon can then reach out, or you can reach out directly to James or to me and let us know, and then we'll kind of get the process rolling in our own kind of internal communications, right? All right, so that said, right, and I mentioned this a little bit at the beginning, so monitoring your own health, right? So if you are sick, right, as this is the time that we just stay home. Like I mentioned earlier, right, there's an old world where we could come to church and if you had a cold or sinus infection or something like that, but this is just not the world we live in right now. And this is why we spent so much effort, right, over the spring and over the summer, putting together a church app where you can pull that up and it's got your sermon right there and your notes are all down there, right, with you to use, developing the app, working through streaming, right, so that you can be connected at home. So, right, if you find yourself looking and seeing symptoms of COVID, right, your fever over 100.4, and these things are going to be, some of them already are, they're going to be more plastered all over the church, right, chills, new cough, persistent cough, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell, body ache, sore throat, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, fatigue, congestion, or runny nose. I mean, those are all the symptoms, right? Monitor those. If you have those for a particular week, doesn't necessarily mean that you've got COVID, but maybe you need to worship from home, decide whether you need to go get tested, okay? At risk, Gallup Hill folks. I mentioned these a little bit at the beginning too, right? So those with pre-existing conditions, or underlying conditions are those that are age 65 or above, right, or those that have been determined to be most at risk. So we urge you to consider, is online your best option? Or if you decide to come, then our recommendation is that you come to the 9 o'clock service. Right, that's the service where on Saturday night, the church is going to have been, or Friday night, depending on the cleaning person's kind of schedule, that's when everything is going to have been cleaned the best, right? So you come in on that morning, there's no one else that's been here. And then we have at-risk seating in the back right. So you guys will come in, just make your way over there to that back right section. That way, if you need to make your way out, right, it's just a quick walk right out the door. And you guys can make your way out that way. So, Sunday worship services, there's going to be 3 options, right? You're going to have a 9 o'clock service that you can come and attend in person. It'll begin at 9. That's also the service that we're going to stream. That's your second office. You're going, wait, there's 3? No, there's 2 in person, there's 1 online, right? So we're going to stream the 9 o'clock. It's going to stream to the same places that you guys are used to it streaming now. It's going to go out to Facebook. It's going to go out to YouTube. I strongly recommend, right, just downloading the church app and looking at it in there. That'll have your video, right? That'll have your notes, all that kind of stuff. And then there'll be an 11 o'clock in person. We're going to keep the services to about 50 to 60 minutes each, right? So that way when we're done at the 9 o'clock, everybody will have time to kind of clear out, right? We'll go through, wipe some things down, door handles, knobs, tables, right? All that kind of stuff. And then that way we have time to reset for when the next group comes in at 11 o'clock. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. So thinking that through, right, as we come in, distancing then plays kind of a bigger picture here, right? So you guys are here in our indoor service, and most of you guys have been in our indoor service for the entire time. But for those that are maybe out there in internet land, or those that I'll be talking to tomorrow morning, right, as we move inside, we've got to get a little more vigilant about the distancing, right? We can't come inside and be on top of each other. So, I mean, youth, that's stuff we got to think about, right? You guys have got to think about this like you're at school, right? Like you got to stay a little more distant. You come in, find your seat, right? Adults, kind of the same thing. One of the things that we've dealt with in the past, right, is people like to congregate right by that door right back there, right? And we all kind of stop there and talk, whereas now we need to kind of move in and make our way to our seats and kind of stay where we're not sitting in these choke points, right, where you get people kind of congregated together. I'm not saying you guys can't stop and talk to someone. Come in, find your way to seat, go say hello, right? We need to be distant, but I don't really, the term social distancing I'm beginning to struggle with a little bit. We need to be social, but we need to be distant. Go say hello to your friends, right? Parents, right? You guys are responsible for your kids as you come in. Okay, you're responsible for keeping up with them, right? If you look on the back left back there, there is family seating. That's what those tables and chairs are for. So parents, as you come in, we'll talk about this in just a second in children's check-in, but you'll check in back there, and then there's seating right here beside the doors that they'll go out when they actually go up at the 9 o'clock service for their programming. So 9 a.m., right? As I mentioned before, this is the at-risk service. You'll enter through these gym doors directly behind me, which you guys all came through tonight, right? You'll notice on the floor now there are arrows that are just kind of pointing the flow of traffic, so we'll just kind of come down through these middle aisles and head back out along the outside, right? So as in high traffic time, so coming in and going, we'll want to just kind of follow, right? You can go through rows if you need to. You don't have to walk all the way down front if you need to go to the bathroom, right? Use a little bit of common sense. But when we get in and when everybody gets settled, right? If it's the middle of the service, like right now, and you got a child that just needs to go to the bathroom, you don't have to walk all the way down front, right? You can slip out and just make your way to the back. But we have these arrows kind of pointing around so that you guys, as we're moving in greater numbers, kind of know the flow of the way things are going to go. Does that make sense? As I mentioned earlier, right? So you'll come in, you'll make your way in, your family seating right there, high-risk seating in the back, regular seating right up here up front. You'll make your way in. Children's programming will be offered in this 9 o'clock service. We'd love to do it in both, but we just can't right now. And the 11 o'clock service is essentially going to be the same service, right? Folks that come at 11 o'clock, the same thing, except for no childcare, right? So those that come in, you still family seating back there, but there won't be something up in the chapel for those guys. So same service. Come in. Here's the other thing, right? As I think through this thought, we love to do exactly what a lot of you guys are doing right now, which is to come in and pick the seat furthest back and sit, right? We are called back row Baptists for good reason. Yes, but as you notice, it's not that big a deal tonight, right? But as we come in, there's seating all up here that we need to make sure that we fill in, right? It's all been spaced out. It's all 6 feet apart. But we can't all come in and just pile up on each other in the back. That's just not going to work. All right. Like I said, laundry list of stuff to talk about, right? Like, so food and drinks, right? We used to have this wonderful experience of coffee hour, which we'd gather for church, and then afterwards these back tables packed with food. Kids would get all sugared up, go home, bouncing off the walls. They could run around and play. We'd all stand and talk, and oftentimes I would literally have to turn the lights off and run people out, like, you've got to leave now. But coffee hour's gone for a little bit. So when it comes to food and drinks, we're going to ask at this point that you guys not bring food in, right? If there's something that you want to drink, you can bring your own drink. We'll have some bottles of water in here. We're just going to ask, please don't use that as an excuse, right, just to take your mask and just sit there like that, right? Nobody wants to have that conversation. So, you pull it down, you'll see me, right? I'll take a swallow of water, put it back on, right? Do what you need to do there. But like I said, we'll have some bottled waters in the back. There'll be hand sanitizer right as you come through the door. Please use it as you come in, right? We put a stop sign back there that you guys can see. Stop, use the hand sanitizer, then make your way kind of down to your seat. On the tables, we're going to have hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, all that kind of stuff. You'll use those in family seating after you're done to kind of wipe the tables down. And then, again, we'll come back after you in between the services and wipe those again. Okay, restrooms. Gym restrooms are the ones we're going to use for our worship services. We're going to keep these over here on the other side reserved for the children. So if there's something that they need to do and they need to come downstairs, we just want to keep those over there for them. So those restrooms in the back really are designed to fit 2 people. So just be aware, and for adults, right, if you go and there's 2 people in there, just, you got to stand outside and wait, right? Youth, right, we don't go congregate in the bathroom where we got like 6 of you guys stacked on top of each other in there. If there's 2 people in there, wait till they come out, then you can go in, okay? Wash your hands. Wash your hands. The kitchen is closed. Just don't go in there. Kitchen's closed, right? So just kind of stay out of that. And just be aware too, right? Children, like I said, laundry list, all this kind of stuff we got to cover. There's going to be children in our service. And those, we used to have it to where, the little bitty ones we kept in the nursery. But then those from like preschool to fourth grade stayed in here with us until we were done worshiping, until I began to preach, and then they all began to go, right? But now the children's programming goes from like nursery up to kindergarten, and it stops. So we're going to have first graders in here, right? We're going to have lots of kids in our services. So children are not always quiet, and this is a gym, and you can hear, even as I'm talking, it's echoing, right? So we're going to have to get used to the fact that some of these guys are in here with us. And we don't want to make families with young kids feel unwelcome. We want them here. We want you guys here, right? So you're just going to have to know that there may be a child back there that just kind of gets going, right? Parents of families with kids at the same time, right? If you're back there, if your children are making a little bit of noise, it's not the end of the world, right? You're scared to death that, they're going to hear it they're not, right? They're not going to hear it on the stream. But, if a child gets too kind of worked up, just go through those doors right there. The entire downstairs down there we're not going to use. So take them for a walk down the hall, walk down the clothing exchange, let them calm down, then bring them back in and get settled back in. Okay. Children's ministry, like I said, is going to be at 9. Family seating is going to be back here in the back. It is up to the parents on whether you want to send them up or not. You can keep them no matter what age here in the service. But they will go up midway through the service. We'll dismiss the children. They'll all go through that door back there to my left. They'll go upstairs to the chapel. There's a rotation of families that are going to be leading that and taking them. So if they're 3 and above, right, they'll need to wear their mask upstairs. If they're 2 and below, they don't have to. The little ones will have a little place up there, by themselves. The older ones, there'll be a video lesson that'll be led by an adult. And so we'll dismiss them and we'll try to line them up over there, and parents try to keep them as spaced as we can. And they'll go upstairs and they'll be seated at 2 of these round tables, right? There'll be 2 of them at a table up in the chapel. So when you come in, there's a new app that we're using called Kid Check. I guess it's a laundry list of stuff I'm throwing. Some of this stuff will come out in emails this week too. Called Kid Check. You'll need to download that. And then when you arrive on the church grounds, you can log into that and then check your child in. You'll have to create a profile, right? But then as you do that, your label will automatically print on that back table back there. There'll be a person back there kind of monitoring it. So when you come in, you'll swing by that blue table there in the back, grab what you need, and then make your way over to family seating, okay? The packets will also be on that back table back there that you guys will be able to get. We'll have someone handing them out as they come in. So for those kids that stay in the service, we've mentioned this several times, we're going to have an element for them called the Family 5. Which is where basically right before I stand up to preach, there'll be a video just for the kids, right? It'll range, usually they go somewhere between like 5 and 7 minutes. So it'll be up there, it'll tie along in with what the packets that they have, right? So it's a fun, kind of silly video, right? They're crazy, nutty people, the kind of people that you would expect, right, to make a children's video for elementary school kids. But we may read through the Bible story on that beforehand, right? And then there may be some places in there where it says pause and discuss. We'll just kind of keep going through those. But adults just know that's all part of designing a service, right, that caters and that fits all the different ages that we're going to have in here, okay? Whew, almost there. Right, giving. So normally when we came in here in church, we would pass offering plates, right? That's gone for a while too. So if this is your church home, we just simply ask you continue to give, right? The mission of the church still goes on even during a weird time. There's a variety of ways. If you came in tonight, you'll notice the giving box in the back. On your way in, on your way out, you can drop a check in there. Some are mailing them into the church, right? You can look up the church's mailing address, 79 Gallup Hill Road. You can mail those in. But the easiest way is really online, right? In the new church app, I don't know if you guys have noticed, you click in there, there's a give, right? You click on that, it takes you directly to our online giving. And you can give through that. Or if you go online to our church website, there's a spot on there that you can give as well, okay? So as you come in or as you exit. And then last but certainly not least, when it comes to kind of moving inside. We'll dismiss at the end of our service in stages, right? So as our worship service ends, we'll let the at-risk folks make their way out first. And they'll go back out through those gym doors out there. We'll coach everybody through this. They'll make their way out first. We'll release then the families to go through those doors and then out the clothing exchange doors and around to the steps up to the chapel. The children's folks will then open up those doors, and as they see you come up to get your kids, they'll release them down to you just like that. So they'll come down those out. You guys will be outside, and you make your way back to your cars, right? Once at-risk is gone, once families are gone, then this right-hand side will be dismissed through the side door. So you guys will make your way out through that side door. Give them a minute to go. This middle section will be dismissed back through the back door. Right, so give them a second to go. Then this left-hand side will then kind of make their way over around through here and out that side door as well. Does that make sense? So that we're all kind of moving out in different ways at different times. Okay, I'm sure there will be a ton of questions, right? And that was quite a bit of stuff really to throw at you guys, but again, right, as we come in next week, 9 or 11, right? If you're coming to the 11, we ask, you kind of time your arrival around 10:45 or later, right? So that we have time to clean everything, to flip it over, and get ready for you to come. But pick which service that you would prefer. We're going to stream the 9, as I mentioned. So if you plan to watch from home, that's when it'll come up, but then it'll be in the app after that. Okay. Whew.